Good evening, students. Let us start our session. So, today I am going to discuss the part 1 physics questions from KVPY SA mock test 2. We will be discussing 15 questions from question number 16 to question number 30. If you are, log into the online test platform, you will see all the questions from 16 to all the questions, 80 questions you'll be able to see. But today we are going to discuss from question number 16 to question number 30. So let me share the screen with you first. And I hope all of you are able to view the screen. So as you see the question number 16 in the screen, the question says a body travels 200 centimeter in the first 2 seconds and 220 centimeter in the next 4 seconds with constant acceleration. Find the velocity at the end of the 7th second from the start. So this is a typical question from kinematics, and here is the solution I'm going to derive. As usual, I say, if you have any doubt at any moment, please do let me know and we'll discuss. I'll stop myself, explain you, clear your doubts, and then proceed forward. So as we do not know the initial velocity, so let us assume initial velocity be u, and definitely there will be a change in velocity, that is acceleration. Okay, so let us assume these two. Let the initial velocity and the acceleration of the body be u and a respectively, u and a respectively. Then, according to the question, the body travels 200 centimeter in the first 2 seconds. The body travels 200 centimeter in the first 2 seconds. That means which formula we can apply? We can apply the formula for s equal to ut plus half at square, because we know the distance. So we can write 200, that is s, is equal to ut. U into t is what? Time is 2, plus half into a into t square, that is 2 square. If we simplify further, we will get 2u plus 2a is equal to 200, and that implies u plus a is equal to 100. So let us give this as equation number 1. Now, and the velocity of the and the body travels 220 centimeter in the next 4 seconds. If you read to the next statement in the question. So here we'll see, and the body travels, and the body travels 220 centimeter in the next 4 seconds. In the next 4 seconds. That means what? That means in the total 6 seconds, 2 seconds previous, there the body travels 220 centimeter, and in the 4 seconds the body traveled 220 centimeter. That implies the body travels 420 centimeter, that is 200 plus 220, that is 420 centimeter in 6 seconds. So that means the body travels 420 centimeter in 6 seconds. So again we will apply the same formula, that is S equal to ut plus half at square. So we will get 420 is equal to u into 6 plus half into a into 6 square. Sorry. This implies 420 is equal to 6u plus 18a, and if we simplify further by taking common, if we take 6 common, then we will get u plus 3a is equal to we get 70. Now let's give this equation as 2. So as you see, there are two unknowns. As we assumed, there are two unknowns. First unknown is the initial velocity, and the second unknown is the acceleration. Now as we need to find the values of these two unknowns, you need to have two equations. So that's why we have derived from the statement of the question two equations we have derived. The first equation is u plus a equal to 100, and the second equation is that u plus 3a equal to 70. Now from these two equations we can find the value of both a and u. How we can find it out? Here is the way. So if we subtract the both sides of the equation 2, both sides of the equation 1 from equation 2, then what we will get? We will get that u and u got cancelled, 3a minus a. So we can write 2 plus 3a minus u plus a, that is equal to 100 minus 70, and that implies what? U plus u and u got cancelled, 3a minus a become 2a, so 2a is equal to 30, and that implies a is equal to 15. So we get okay, so 2 minus 1, so this should be minus 100, this is plus 70, that becomes, it is minus 30, so it is minus 15. So a is equal to minus 15. That means it is a retardation or negative acceleration. And if you apply the value of u equal to minus 15 in any of the equations, 1 or 2, we will get the value of u is equal to 115. So that means the initial velocity was 115 centimeter per second, and the acceleration is actually minus 15 centimeter per second square. Now the question is that what is the velocity at the end of the 7th second? So let me do it here from. So let the velocity at the end of 7th seconds be v. So then what formula we can apply? We can apply the formula v is equal to u plus a into 7, because in the 7 time period is 7 here, So V is equal to U. What is U? U already we derived is 115 plus A into 7. A is minus 15 and it is 7. That implies V is equal to 115 minus 85. That means it is 10 centimeter per second. So we get V is equal to 10 centimeter per second. That is also we can write it according to our given option 10 centimeter second to the power minus 1. So we get the correct option as B. So we get the correct option as B. I hope all of you understood this one. In case of any doubt. You are correct. Exactly. I made a small typo during computation. Yeah. Thanks whoever detected this thing. Yeah, it should be 105. So it should be 105. Thank you very much. Okay, I hope things are clear and we can proceed to the next question. Next question is question 17, and it is a very straightforward question. The question here is that when does the value of G at a place increase? Okay, so it actually increase with the increase in the latitude of the place. Okay, so we get the option B as correct. So what we can write here is that it's a very straightforward, the value of G at a place increases with increase in latitude of the place. Of the place. So we get the correct option as B. So we get the correct option as B. And it is a question of 9th standard, but still I included here because in the 10 mock test what you have planned, so we have a very good coverage. Okay, now let's move to the question 18. And if you look into the question 18, this is also based on the understanding of your fundamentals on the potential energy and kinetic energy. A ball is thrown upward from point A. It reaches up to point B and returns. Now in this entire phenomenon, what we can conclude? Option A, kinetic energy at A is equal to kinetic energy at B. Option B, potential energy at A is equal to potential energy at B. Option C is potential energy at B is equal to kinetic energy at B. And option D is that potential energy at B is equal to kinetic energy at A. So now let us understand the fundamentals. So as I explain, I also write it down so that you can take it, you can have a look into it later as well. From point A, what we see is that from point A, the body is thrown upwards. The body is thrown upwards. Hence it acquires kinetic energy. It acquires kinetic energy, and when it reaches the maximum height, and when it reaches the maximum height at point B, at point B, it acquires, okay, so what we see is that from the point A, the body is thrown upward, hence it acquires kinetic energy, and when it reaches at the maximum height at B, it acquires the, potential energy. Okay, so what we can conclude? We can conclude from here, is that potential energy at B is equal to kinetic energy at A. Potential energy at B is equal to kinetic energy at A. So we get the correct option as D. So we get the correct option as D. Okay, so now I hope things are clear here as well. Now let's proceed to the next question, which is question 19, and it is also a very straightforward question, and it based on your, I got a query. Let me have a look into it. Exactly. Yeah, Pratik, your statement is correct. It is related to the laws of conservation of mechanical energy. Correct. True. Okay. So now let's go to the next question. That how are bats able to, fly in the dark? I hope those who have studied, the chapter sound in class 9, they will be, you will able to understand this thing. So what is that happens here is that the bat can, let me write, bat can fly in pitch darkness because they hear ultrasonic sounds. Ultrasonic sounds to produce echoes and detect the surroundings. And detect the surroundings. So for your information, I can keep a note here is that ultrasound is sound wave. Ultrasound is sound waves with frequencies higher than the upper audible limit of the human hearing. Then the limit of human being. Hence, what we see is that option B is correct. They can hear the ultrasonic sounds. So we get option B correct. Yes, Shreya, you are correct. Okay. Next one, let's proceed to the next question, which is question 20. And here the question is, a concave mirror is made by cutting a portion of a hollow glass sphere of radius 24 centimeter. Find the focal length of the mirror. So let us we need to go to a little bit of theory on this. So I would like to explain you, those who are not aware of the relationship between the focal length and the the radius of curvature. So let us let me write it here. Let you know uh, f be the let f and r be the focus and radius of curvature of the concave mirror. Then what we know is that f is equal to r by 2. F is equal to r by 2, and as it is given that r is equal to 24, so it is 24 by 2, that is equal to 12 centimeter, and we get the correct option as B. But I would like to explain you that how we derive the relationship, that is f is equal to r by 2, because this kind of information is important to know, and you can apply this thing in your relevant problems later. Because this understanding is important, let me show you the relevant theory by means of an example. Suppose this is the mirror, concave mirror, and this part is actually shaded, and as we know, so we draw this straight line, and this is, let us assume this is the center of that curvature, and this is let's assume this as the focus. Then according to the question, what is f? So let's assume this point as P. So we get this fp is equal to f. So what we get, fp is equal to f, and we get cp is equal to r, the radius of the curvature. So this to this, so we get cp is equal to capital R. Now we know the property. What are the property is that suppose there is a ray comes parallel to this axis, then what will happen? We know it actually, if it goes like this, hits that mirror like this, then it will come out from the through the point which is the focus. Okay, now what we do is that let us draw a dotted line, and if you remember the fundamentals, there is both thing happens. One thing happen is that reflection. So according to the reflection, so this is the angle of reflection, sorry, angle of incident, and this is angle of reflection. Let us assume this angle as alpha. Now suppose the ray starts from the point A, it reaches at the point B, and like that it happens. And what we know is that from that fundamentals law is that I is equal to R. That is one thing, and alpha is equal to I. Why alpha is equal to I? Since AB is parallel to CP. That's why these two angles are equal. So from these two we can conclude that alpha is equal to R. Why alpha is equal to 1? Since I is equal to R in the previous step we have proved, and alpha equal to I, so that then obviously alpha equal to R. Alpha equal to R. Now if we look into this triangle, what we see that alpha and R are equal. That means that opposite to this alpha is AB, and opposite in the triangle. So if I write in the triangle, FBC, we get as angle alpha is equal to angle R. So the sides opposite to the angle alpha, which is FB, should be equal to the side opposite to the angle R, which is CF. We know that if two angles are equal, then the opposite sides, corresponding opposite sides are also equal. CF. Now what is FP? FP is what? FP is equal to the distance from the focus to the FB, I should write here is that FB is equal to CF. Yeah, correct. FB. Now what is FB? FB and FP both are equal if we consider that small aperture. So what we can say? We can say that FP is equal to CF, since FB is very near to FP, and towards approximation we can take them equal for small aperture. So that implies what? FP is equal to CF. So from there we can write what? We write FP is equal to just for a simplification, FP plus FP divided by 2, because 2 into FP by 2. Now here I would like to not imply it. I would like to write that from a normal mathematics we can write FP is not implied by FP is equal to FP plus FP by 2. So that means what? From here we can write this FP is equal to 1 FP we are replacing with CF, because FP equal to CF, so we are writing FP plus CF divided by 2. Now FP plus CF is nothing but CP, so that implies what we get? FP is equal to Cp by 2. And what is Fp? Fp is nothing but the focal length. F is equal to, and Cp is the radius of the curvature. F is equal to r by 2, the relationship we are able to derive here. I hope you understood. If you want to take a minute to look into it, please have a look into it so that we can proceed to the next question. That is question number 21. Okay, so let's go to the next question, question number 21. This is also a very good question based on the fundamentals. So it is mentioned that several 150 ohm resistors are to be connected in such a way that a current of 2 ampere flows from a 50 volt source. How many such resistors are required along with a mode of connect them? Mode of connect them means it could be either in series connection or in parallel connection. So that's why if you look into the options, there are both series and parallel are given in the options. So now we do not know, so let us first assume that all these n resistors are connected in series. Okay. So let first we write this thing. Okay. Let me use a different color pen. So I'm writing here, let n resistors are connected in series. Are connected in series. Now we know a rule. What is the rule? The rule is that V equal to I into R. So if we apply that rule, in this case, V is equal to what? V is equal to I into N into R. Because if we assume that R be the resistance, which is 150 ohm, then as they are in series, the resultant resistance will be N into R, because they are addition, as we know from the fundamentals of the resultant of resistors. So what is V? We see the V is equal to 50 volt. And what is the I? I is the ampere, is 2 ampere, and N into R, R is equal to 150. So if we simplify this, then what we get? We get N is equal to 1 by 6. Now N equal to 1 by 6 is not possible to have. Why? Because this is the number of resistors are connected in series. That cannot be a fractional number, because n has to be a natural number. So which is not possible? Which is not possible. So what we left with? So that means by till this time we can ignore the first two options, option A and option B, because both the options are having series. So that means definitely they have to be connected in parallels. Now let's see what will happen in case of the parallel. So let n resistors are connected in parallel. Then what we know? So from here we know the resultant of that resistance. If we consider that R be the resultant, so 1 by R should be 1 by 150 plus 1 by 150 up to N. So that will be equal to N by 150. So from here we get the value of R is equal to 150 by N. Now we apply the same formula, V is equal to I into R. So V is equal to I into R is what? It is, I into R. So V is equal to I into R. So from here we get V is equal to 50, I is equal to 2 ampere, and R is equal to 150 divided by N. So that implies from here we get the value of N is equal to 6, which is a possible number. So what we conclude? So 6 such resistors to be connected in parallel. To be connected in parallel. Hence the correct option is C. So we get the option C as correct. I hope all of you understood this, and we can proceed to the next question, that is question 22. So if you look into the question that what is the use of split ring commutator in a DC motor, there are 4 options as you see. Now, if you need, fundamental understanding on the operation of the DC motor and how that commutator works, please, contact me and I can explain you our, separate class in very detailed manner. But what we can conclude here is that, here is the conclusion, the split ring commutator split ring commutator in a DC motor, causes the alternating current in the coil to change its direction every 180-degree turn, converting it into a direct current. Direct current. So what happens? These changes will enable the coil to rotate continuously. So to complete the statement, I can write this change will enable the coil to rotate continuously. That is why we get the this continuously as we derived, so we get the correct option as B. So we get the I hope things are clear now. So let's proceed to the next question, that is question 23. The question is, what does biogas mainly consist of? It's a very straightforward question, and here is the way I can explain. Biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and hydrogen sulfide. So if we see this thing, the biogas, it has several things. First one is a methane. Okay. CH4. It has carbon dioxide. CO2. It has hydrogen. It has hydrogen, and it has hydrogen sulfide. H2S. What has been observed, the major constituents of this biogas are methane. Methane comes around 65%, and carbon dioxide about 20%. So based on the given options, in context to the options, we can say that option A is correct. So we get option A as correct. Any doubt, please do let me know. It's very straightforward. There is no processing. Only the previous knowledge is going to help you this question. Now this question number 24, is also in the similar line. Which color of light travels with a minimum speed in glass? Okay. So to answer this question, what you need to know is that which color gives the maximum deviation, and it is the violet color. So violet color has maximum deviation. Maximum deviation. That implies, hence, it has a minimum speed in glass. Hence, it has minimum speed. So we get the correct option as C. Okay. I hope this is clear. Now let's proceed to the next question, which is question number 25. Yeah, that also you can use. Yep, you're correct. Okay, so let's go to the next question. And this question is a test of your understanding on the dimensions, which is a unit from the chapter called Units and Measurement in Physics. So the question is that the only mechanical quantity which has negative dimension of mass. Okay. So option A is angular momentum, option B is torque, option C is coefficient of thermal conductivity, and option D is gravitational constant. So let us derive, and I'll explain you in each of these terminologies with their definition, followed by their how to derive their dimensions. The first one comes is that dimension of angular momentum. So if you look into the dimension of angular momentum, dimension of angular momentum, so that we can describe as J. Now what is angular momentum? The angular momentum of a body about an axis is a product of its linear momentum and the perpendicular distance of the body from the axis, as simple as that. So if I write the definition so that you can refer it in future, the angular momentum of a body, angular momentum of a body about an axis, about an axis is the product of its linear momentum, is the product of its linear momentum and the perpendicular distance of the body and the perpendicular distance of the body from the axis of the body Now let us realize this, whatever I wrote, this definition, let us realize. That means what? It is the product of its linear momentum. Linear momentum, we know it is m into v. And what is the product of this linear momentum and the perpendicular distance from the axis? So let's define this as r. So now what is the dimension of m? Dimension of m is m, mass. Then v, velocity. Velocity we know it is a distance over time, L by t. And then what is r? R is nothing but a distance, it is L. So what we get? We get m L square t power minus 1. So we see what? Dimension of angular momentum doesn't have negative dimension of mass. It is a positive dimension of mass. M means what? M power 1. Na? So first one is not correct. Option 1 is not correct. Then let's see what is torque. So let me use a different color so that you can differentiate later. Okay. So for torque, so what is torque? Torque is nothing but it is a force. Okay. Okay. Let me tell you from the beginning. What force causes? Force causes acceleration, and in the same manner, torque causes angular acceleration. That is the fundamentals about the torque. So if I write, from an analogy point of view, force causes acceleration, and torque causes angular acceleration. So now, if we see from the fundamental definition of torque, so torque is equal to force into the perpendicular distance. So that is equal to what is force? Force you all know. It is m L t to the power minus 2 mass into acceleration. Mass is m and acceleration is L t to the power minus 2. And this into perpendicular distance is what? L. So if we do this thing, it will become m power 1, L power 2 and t power minus 2. So this is the dimension of torque. And you can look into the torque in other way also. So you can think of torque as a angular acceleration into the moment of inertia. And if you take that way, then that definition, then also you will come to the same conclusion about the dimensions of torque. Then next one is the coefficient of thermal conductivity. So what that coefficient of thermal conductivity means? The coefficient of thermal conductivity of a material is a measurement of the ability of the material to conduct heat. What does it mean? It means is that a high value of thermal conductivity indicates that the material is a good heat conductor, and a low value indicates that the material is a poor conductor, or we can define it as the insulator. Now the thermal conductivity is defined as the heat transfer through a unit thickness of the material per unit area per unit temperature difference. Now I have said several things. Let me explain you by means of mathematical definition, and let me use a different color. So what it is something like that. Let Q be the heat energy flowing through a, let's consider a rod. Okay. Let Q. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about the dimension of, so let me write this thing as we are using a different color. So dimension of coefficient of thermal conductivity. Okay. So let Q be the heat energy. Q be the heat energy, flowing through a rod of length L. Flowing through a rod L in time t. Now then, as Q is the heat energy which works over a time period of t, then what we get, uh, the flow of heat is Q by T, right? So Q by T is the rate of flow of heat. Okay. So what we get? We get this implies that Q by T is a rate of flow of heat. Through the rod. Now this Q by T is a very important important parameter, and it depends on it varies different proportion. What the proportion it varies, let me write it down. So Q by T varies proportional to the the area of the cross section of the rod. A, what is A? A is the cross sectional area of the rod. Cross sectional area of the rod, and it also varies proportional to the temperature at the two ends of the rod. That is means we can assume T1 minus T2. So we can assume, okay, temperature values of the rod, let where T1 comma T2 be the temperature values, be the temperature values of the two ends sorry, values of the two ends of the rod. And obviously we are assuming that T1 is greater than T2, so that we can make it proportional to T1 minus T2. And it also inversely proportional to the length or thickness of the rod. That means it varies 1 by length or thickness of the rod. Now if we combine all these three, then what we'll get? If we combine all these three, then we'll get Q by T is proportional to A into T1 minus T2 divided by length. Sorry, this is, we can assume that length as L. So as it is proportional, from there we can find that the proportionality constant Q by T, that is equal to K into A into T1 minus T2 divided by L, and from here we get that K, the required coefficient, is equal to Q into L divided by A into T1 minus T2 into T. So now let's find the dimension of each of these quantity. So these dimensions will be, now what is Q? Q is nothing but the energy, heat energy. So its dimensions would be something like same like the you know you know the work done. So that will be m, as we know the dimension of work, m L square T power minus 2, and then L is becomes L, then area is obviously L square, and then the temperature difference is K, and T is that time, so that is T. So if we make all these things in a proper manner, then we get K is equal to m L T power minus 3 K power minus 1. Here also we see that no, it is not a negative, the dimension is negative, not in the negative of negative dimension of mass. So what we see is that angular momentum, torque, and dimension and the coefficient of thermal conductivity, all these three quantities having a dimension of mass as positive. Then obviously from the principle of exclusion, we can say that the gravitational constant is the one which has the negative of mass. But let's see it how it is actually happening. So let me derive this one, and you also can derive along with me, and you can over chat you can tell me what you got. So let me use a different color pen here. I have used this. Let me use the black. So from that Newton's law of gravitation, so what we say is that gravitational constant, so dimension of, okay, so the dimension of gravitational constant I'm so sorry. Okay, so what we can write force is equal to G into m1 into m2 divided by r square. So what we want to find? We want to find that, G. G is equal to, we write force into r square divided by, m and m. So, m1 into m2. You can write into also. So now let's see what is the dimension of, G. Okay, force. Force we know ml t power minus 2. We know r is nothing but L, so r square is L square, and divided by m1 into m2, both are mass, so it will be m square. So from here what we see is that G is equal to, obviously here it will get m in the numerator, m power 1 in the numerator, and m power, here is m power 1, L power 1, and 2 in the denominator, so it is m power minus 1, L power 3, and t power minus 2. Now we got the correct option as D, as we said earlier, because the power of m is equal to minus 1. So we get, out of these 4 options, as you see, the gravitational constant has the dimension of mass in negative. So we get the correct option as D. Okay, so we get, so we get the correct option as D. Okay, I hope all of you are able to understand this thing. Anyway, we'll be sharing all this, video lecture as well as this, class workout session over, available in our online test platform. Sorry. So now let's proceed to the next question, which is question 26, and it says something like this: is that the displacement of particle is given by, x equal to a0 plus a1t by 2 minus a2t square by 3. So what we get? X is equal to a0 plus a1 into t by 2 minus a2 into t square by 3. Now we need to find the, acceleration. Acceleration means what? First we need to find velocity. So velocity is nothing but dx dt. So those who are very new to the differential calculus, I can do it little slowly here. So ddt of a0 plus a1 into t by 2 minus a2 into t square by 3. So from here what we get, so let me do it slowly because most of you are very new to differential calculus, as I know, as you are in your class 11. So that means ddt of a0. In this way you can also learn the fundamentals of differential calculus, plus ddt of a1 by 2 into t minus ddt of a2 by 3 into t square. So from there we get v is equal to ddt of a0. a0 is a constant, though it is not mentioned in the question, but from the context you need to understand is a constant. Differentiation of a constant is 0, and whenever you see some function and a constant is multiplied in the differentiation, you can take the constant out of the differentiation. That means what? We can write this is equal to a1 by 2 into ddt of t minus a2 by 3 ddt of t square. This is equal to, now there is a formula that I can write you in a different color so that you can remember whatever the way you say and later, is equal to ddx of x power n is equal to n into x power n minus 1. So that means the same thing, ddt of t power n is equal to n into t power n minus 1. Now if we apply this theory here, so what we get, 0 first one, so a1 by 2 a1 by sorry, let me write properly, a1 by 2 ddt of t should be t to the power 1 minus 1, that is 0, 1 into t to the power 0, that is 1, minus a2 by 3 into ddt of t square should be 2 into t from this formula. So from here what we get, b is equal to a1 by 2 minus a2 by 3, 2a2 by 3 we can write into t. But we need to find acceleration. Acceleration is equal to dv dt. So that is equal to what? ddt of sorry, so a1 by 2 minus 2 into a2 by 3 into t. So from here we get, this implies a is equal to ddt of a1 by 2 minus 2a2 by 3 we can take outside of the differentiation because it is a constant, so ddt of t. So from here we get acceleration is equal to ddt of a1 by 2, a1 by 2 is a constant, so ddt of a1 by 2 should be 0, minus 2 into a2 by 3 into ddt of t is equal to 1. So from here we get acceleration is equal to minus minus 2 into a2 by 3, and we get the correct option as B. Hope things are clear and we can proceed to the next question, that is question number 27. As you see the question, here it is asked that the angle between the vectors A is equal to 3i minus 4j and B is equal to minus 2i plus 3k is what? Okay, so those who are done with the motion in a plane in physics, I will be aware of, vector scalar product, and we are going to apply this one. Suppose, so what is the vector A? Vector A is given as 3i minus 4j plus nothing is for k, so we can write 0 into k, which will be helpful for us to compute further. And what is the vector B? Vector B is equal to minus 2i plus 0 into j, because there is no j component, plus 3 into k. I think I got a query. Just may have a quick look into it. In the answer key to the question number 26 is given as 0. Okay, I will have a look into it. I hope you are referring to the online test platform. Okay, so that I will look into it. Okay, Urvi, I do understand. So I will have a look into it in the online test platform. In fact, online test platform question number, which question? It is question number 26. Yeah, you are correct. It cannot be 0. It has to be corrected in the correct option. I will do. Thanks, Urvi, for bringing this to into my notice. Thank you very much. Okay, anyway, let's proceed further. So, uh, you know, very good point actually. You raised very good point. Anyway, so from the dot product, so remember, whenever two vectors are given and you need to find the angle between these two vectors, the first and foremost thing what you should do is the scalar product or dot product of these two vectors. So from this what we can say, suppose if the angle between these two vectors be theta, then A dot B should be equal to mod of A into mod of B into cos theta. So from here what is A dot B? A dot B, 3 into minus 2 plus minus 4 into 0 plus 0 into 3 is equal to mod A. Mod A is equal to square root of 3 square plus minus 4. Let me write minus 4 properly. Minus 4 whole square plus 0 square into square root of minus 2 whole square plus 0 square plus 3 square into cos theta. You can go little in the right hand side into so from here what we get, this implies 3 into minus 2 is equal to minus 6 is equal to square root of 3 square plus 4 square, that is equal to 5, Pythagorean triplet, and square root of 2 square plus 3 square, square root of 2 square plus 3 square is equal to, it is 4 plus 9, 4 plus 9 is equal to 13 into cos theta. Okay, so from here what we get, cos theta is equal to minus 6 by 5 root 13, and from here we get theta equal to cos inverse minus 6 by 5 into root 13. I hope it is not matching any of these answers. There must be something wrong in the question. I will get back to you on this. Okay, I will get back to you on this question later. Thank you. Now let's proceed to the next question, which is question number 28. If you look into this question number 28, it says that a particle is acted upon a force of constant magnitude, which is always perpendicular to the velocity of the particle. The motion of the particle takes place in a plane. It follows that which one of the four options. Now the when a force, so what you can write is that I write and also explain at the same time, is that when a force of constant magnitude acts on velocity of particle perpendicularly then there is no change in the kinetic energy of the particle. Then there is no change in the kinetic energy of the particle. So what we get, so that means as there is no change in the kinetic energy of the particle, that means the kinetic energy is constant. So we get correct option as, so we get as C. So we get the correct option as C. Now we can go to the next question, question number 29. Because when a force is of constant magnitude acts on the velocity, okay, perpendicular to it. So what happens is that there is no change in the kinetic energy. The thing is that force is constant, okay, acts velocity of the perpendicularly, so the component along that horizontal component there is no cos 90, which is 0, so hence there is no change in the kinetic energy. So let's come to the next question, and if you have further question, whoever asked this one, okay, so please do let me know later offline, and we will take it forward. Okay, the vertical component is 0, that's why here okay, Sritesh, okay, I hope you do get the point. In case any doubt, we can again discuss, because the vertical component is 0. So now look into the next question, which is question number 29. It is a classical question of laws of conservation of momentum. A rifle of 20 kg mass can fire 4 bullets per second. The mass of each bullet is 35 times 10 to the power minus 3 kg, and its final velocity is 400 meter per second. Then what force must be applied on the rifle so that it does not move backwards while firing the bullets? It's a very classical question. So what you can write is that from conservation of momentum, from conservation of momentum, what we get is that if we consider M be the capital M be the mass of the rifle, and the velocity as it get due to this firing of the bullet in the backward direction, plus the M momentum of the bullet. One bullet is M into V, so 4 bullets should be 4 into M into V, because it is in per second. This should be, there is no change, 0. So from here what we need to find? We need to find, because we know capital M, which is 20 kg. We know the small m, which is 35 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg. We know small v, that is 400 meter per second. So from here we can find the capital V. Capital V is equal to minus 4 into m into v divided by capital M. So from here we get V is equal to minus of 4 into m is 35 into 10 to the power minus 3 into velocity is 400 divided by 20. So from here, if you compute V is equal to minus 2.8 meter per second. So force applied on the rifle will be what? So force applied on the rifle so that should be equal to m into v by t, obviously, because force is equal to mass into acceleration, mass into v by t, which is acceleration. What is the mass? Mass we know 20, velocity we just find 2.8, but here we take the positive value because the force will become in the opposite direction than that of the force applied towards the bullet, divided by t should be here 1, because we are discussing here per second, because per second 4 bullets is actually being passed. That is equal to, if you compute this thing, minus, and if you consider minus also, there's no problem, so you get minus 56 Newton. So we get the correct option as D. So we get the correct option as D. Fine. We are now we have the last question for today's session. That is question number 30. A particle is acted upon a force of constant magnitude which is always perpendicular to the velocity of the particle. The motion of the particle takes place in a plane. It follows that, obviously, in this case, no work is done. Why no work is done? No work is done when a force of constant magnitude always acts at a right angles to the velocity of a particle when the motion of the particle takes place in a plane, as the component will be 0. So as the component will be 0, what we get is the kinetic energy of the particle remains constant, and we get the correct option as C. Okay, so we are done with all the 15 questions of part 1 physics of KVPY-SA mock test 2, as I have mentioned at the beginning of the class. So we have, I need to work on this question number 27. It seems that question is not properly correct. So what I'll do, I will, update this particular page. I'll make a solution and send it to you. Only point is that I cannot update this video lecture. Okay. But anyway, both the video lectures and these class notes are go hand in hand so that you can make the difference. So with this, I am done. If you have any question, please, do let me know, and we'll take it forward. Okay. So you can contact me later also, as we discussed. Okay. If you have any questions, so I give 2 minutes to, ask me any question. If I do not get, then, we'll conclude and we will again resume our classes on Wednesday, and there we'll be discussing the chemistry questions. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you very much for your compliment. Thank you, Arun, for your compliments. Thank you. Hope you understood. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you very much for your compliment, and please go through these video lectures later. Thank you, Sriseth. Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you very much for your compliment. Thank you, Urvi. Thank you very much for your compliment. Okay, so yeah, Srisit, I think you registered today, right? So I will send you all these things offline. Please do WhatsApp me. I will send you all this offline. Please do WhatsApp me today so that you will get all these things. And we have all this archived, all the previous lectures. Okay, you said Prahlad is right. So what is what Prahlad said? Let me have a look into it. Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 Prahlad. What you are saying is correct. True. Yes, yes, yes. If we approximate, square root of 13 to 3.6, yes, absolutely you are correct. Yes, thank you, Prahlad. Eh, yeah, thank you. All right. Um, okay, thank you very much. We'll see you on Wednesday with our chemistry class with our chemistry faculty. Rajesh sir will be taking to, the next 15 questions. Thank you.